Hey, it's About Town Deb. Great show today. I'm here with my good friend, Tabnie Dozier.
Yay.
I'm trying to say it fancy.
Yes.
So what are you going to be sharing today with us?
Oh my goodness. We are focusing on self-worth, self-excellence, valuing the gifts that are within. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation with you, Deb.
You got to stay tuned because she just said gifts and my quote has gifts in it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In Nevada near the silver mines, there's a kind-hearted woman. She's looking so fine, always taking care of her community. Bringing folks together is her cup of tea. She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
And welcome to this week's episode of City Talk. I'm About Town Deb, Debbie McCarthy, your host. And today, as I said in the little teaser, I have a really good friend, and she's the pro. I'm going to be learning from her. So we all will learn from her, not just about being an anchor and a storyteller. It's more about her heart. So her gift is her heart. So we're going to be learning about valuing ourselves and doing that. And I also, since we teased about the quote, I'm going to change things up a little bit. So I'm just going to do the quote now. I'm not going to keep them. So if you value yourself, you understand that you are a gift to anyone you meet. Rhonda Britton. I'm going to say I had no idea because she didn't even know we were going to do the teaser. I had this done 2 days ago.
Wow.
So I'm so excited. And we wouldn't be able to be here without, and here is in Sparks, Nevada, Musicians Rehearsal Center. We change the setup every week as we're growing and expanding. And thanks to Angel Fenix Media, thanks to Crystal Basin Sellers. And I've been teasing, saying we have a new distributor. And I'm having a phone call today at 3. I'm pretty sure, so I'm just going to say it because I'm going to manifest it. Because he said he's already picked up the alcohol, so it has to be. So Tavern Craft is a local distributor in Reno. And Charlie is who I'm going to be working with. And I've known him and his wife for a long time. And I'm really grateful that we're going to create this partnership with Crystal Basin, and we'll be able to have a local brand, a local distributor, and Crystal Basin is just over the hill. And the 2 wines that he labels for me, I donate a portion to Northern Nevada Children's Cancer Foundation, so a local nonprofit. So it's a way that we could all collaborate and support each other. So I'm excited about that. And Surratt Law Practice, another local community. Kim is amazing. You need to meet Kim. Okay. She's incredible. So without all of our listeners, this wouldn't be possible. So I'm going to give the shout out. If you are familiar with the show, I always give a shout out to my mom, Grandma B, and to Ellie and all my family. So Grandma B got me this for Christmas. I don't know if you can see it. It's a beautiful necklace with earrings, and I've already gotten compliments on it. So thank you, Grandma B. And huge prayers out to Pauline, our friend who needs a little extra love. So now that we've got all that done, so I did mention with Tabnie here that she is award-winning, number 1, and she's newer, not brand new to Reno, about a year, 2 years. Has it been 2 years already?
No, we're going on.
Don't tell me 3, 4.
5 years.
No way.
I know we lost years in COVID. So
my God.
Yes, it's going on 5 years.
But when I first met you, you were new to
That's
Reno.
right. That's right.
And we kept saying we're going to get together. And so we did off and on, but it's just crazy. Life goes by, as we know, and it goes by so fast. And that's part of, I think that's part of why we don't have time to value ourselves, because we're too busy taking care of other people and running this rat race that we don't get to. But I would love you to say, besides being award-winning, and you on Colo News. So if you may have seen her beautiful face as she's done that, but she's launched out onto her own now. So I'm going to let you kind of tell your little story, a big story, and then we'll finish off this segment with a story, and then we'll continue.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I love the local feel. So congrats. We've already manifested the distributor. We have. The sponsors. Yes. The increased listeners and fans. We are manifesting manifesting all of that.
Yes, we are.
And it's an honor. Tabnie Dozier. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. And I just wrapped up a magnificently fruitful local news career, which has been incredible, spanning 3 markets in 3 states. I'm a graduate of Western Kentucky University and majored in broadcast news and Spanish. So I started in Evansville, Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, and then Reno. I moved to Reno July 2018. Wow. And then, so yes, I retired in August of 2022. And so that wrapped up, put a nice pretty bow.
Retired, she's like Miss Youngster.
Yes. You know what I say? If the men get to say it when they retire from NFL at the ripe old age of their 30s, then I get to retire in my beautiful ripe old age as well.
I love that.
Okay. Girl
Us
power all the way.
What we want.
Thank you. So I have retired and stepped into this new era of entrepreneurship and really storytelling on my terms. I'm very grateful for the news journey.
Do you see how she said on my terms? Value.
That's right.
This is, continue.
That is right. I'm very grateful for the news journey and the local news and journalism journey. I care about facts. I care about honesty. And that is why I chose news. But there are, constraints and restrictions, and it's a 365 operation and the public scrutiny. I came into news in the digital age, right?
Yes,
so
you did.
back in the day, you had to write a letter, but baby, now you can get them Twitter fingers and go to your DMs and talk about my outfit before the commercial break, and the way that the business has changed in terms of staffing. Now, one person will grab the camera, do the interview, take it back, edit it, put it together, go on air and present it. Baby, that's 5 people's jobs.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
And, I just recognize the decline in the craft that I love so much. And so I decided to go onto my own. So we'll have to talk about Tabnie Dozier Enterprises. My media company is a Black-owned business in Reno, Nevada.
I'm excited.
I'm incredibly grateful for. So there's my little background. So 5 years this summer, baby.
I don't know whether I'm getting older or time's going by faster, but something's going on in this universe. But it's all good.
Yes.
So we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to find out how you too can make that decision to follow your heart. Be right back. It's About Town Deb and Tabnie.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Fenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Fenix Productions.
She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back. It is About Town Deb, Debbie McCarthy, your host, with my co-host and special guest, Tabnie. I am so excited. And people know, I just say it like it is. When I say I'm excited, I mean it. I can feel it. My heart's excited. And I'm just grateful that somebody with your talent and everything that you have accomplished are sitting right next to me, which is a big honor for me, number one. And for all you listeners out there, I got to tell you, I'm going to have her dig a little deeper because we keep it real here. When you look at her and you see her grace and her knowledge and what she's accomplished, you would think she's like 40, her wisdom wise, old soul wise,
That's right.
like 40. She's in her early 30s.
That's right.
And to be a young woman entrepreneur who came here in Reno and been here 5 years, and what she's accomplished, and now to retire from news anchoring at that young age and to start her own business and Black-owned women and in Reno, Nevada, and on my set. It is an honor. So I'd like you to continue your journey with us, because that's what we're here for.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. I do. I am so honored. And she's right. Emmy-Award winning journalist, which is fantastic. And so I didn't have 7 entrepreneurial bones in my body in 2022, but in 2021, August of 2021, one of the closest men in my life passed away unexpectedly, Stevan Williams, in a car crash in North Carolina. And he came out here for his first visit to Tahoe, May of 2021. So I'm so honored we got to spend that time. I'm so honored to show him the gem that is Northern Nevada. But you know, you just don't send someone to the airport and hug them and think that's the last time that you'll ever see them. And so I did not receive support, mental health or bereavement support, working at that news station in terms of my grief, and grief had never kicked down my door in that capacity.
Well, you're also you're in your early 30s.
That's right. So I'm blessed. I still have my parents. I still have my grandparents. So I have not, and you just don't think about kids or friends. You think about older folks than you when you think about death.
And grandparents.
Yes, you do.
You don't think about peers. Your best friend, your peer.
Absolutely not. And that rocked me to the core. And then being in an accident, a car accident, how many deadly wrecks do you see on the news? It was absolutely traumatizing. Yeah. And so I anchored the 10 and the 11 o'clock newscasts. And so, you know, that's just a lot of heavy stuff at the end of the night. And then in the spring of 22, I kept feeling this divine nudge. Start a business, Tabnie, start a business. Do what? Sell what? How?
Yourself.
Yes. So I'm thinking, okay, angels. And I registered it, you know, Tabnie Dozier Enterprises, LLC in May of 22, but sat on it. I said, okay, I've done it. Y'all gonna have to let me know what's next. And lo and behold, you're exactly right. I am the brand. I am the corporation. I am the storyteller. And it is my talents that guide my business. And so the realms that I'm focusing on now, if I may, of course, storytelling. So that's visual or written. You know, companies can hire me for blogs, client testimonials, staff highlights, whatever products coming out, or visual that, you know, we can shoot and edit and put on their website. Event planning and hosting. As a news anchor, you get offered to so many galas, fundraisers, charity, fashion shows. And I love uplifting. I feed off of crowds. I love that energy. So now you can hire me for private and public events and media training, which I did not even have in my wheelhouse originally. And people started coming to me. Can you help me with on-camera mechanics, with interview skills? And not just for people who go on camera, Deb, but front-facing leadership, you know, C-suite level, people who go to conventions or talk to investors. A lot of folks are terrified of talking in front of crowds or talking on camera. I am not, so I can help with that.
Of course she's not.
And then, you know, some low-hanging fruit just in the media specialty realm, helping with press releases, helping with media kit creation. Everybody has a story. So what's your story? And my expertise is helping to formulate that, to take that vision to light in whatever facet that you see fit. But it's not the strenuous ways of the news where, oh, I can't do this anymore because we have wildfires. Oh, I have Donner shut down, 80 shut down. Oh, we have this. It's your story, your way.
And at the right time when it's right. So we were sitting in Mari Chewy's, because I'm keeping it real, in the Village, and you were going through this process. And she's like, what do I do? How do I do it? I'm like, you are the person. Like, I had to remind you that you are the talent, and and your heart is so big. So when you have a huge heart, you could tell somebody's story even better than they can, because you can feel their energy, you can feel their heart, and you know that they want to share it, but they don't know how to share it. And I mean, I love listening to people's story. I may not be as good as telling it, and I'm not good at telling my own story, but that's why you surround yourself with people who have the talent and can help you tell that story. Because each story's your own story, guys. So each of you out there listening, you have a special story, whether you know it or not, but you need somebody to help bring it out. And that's what Tabnie will do.
Yes.
And that's what you've been doing your whole life.
Yeah.
Even though it's in her 30s.
Yes.
So we're going to go a little dig deeper here. So at what point, at what age did you realize I want to be I want to tell stories. I want to share news. And how did you go about that path? There's lots of young entrepreneurs out there who want to be a weather reporter, want to be a news reporter, and they're just finishing high school. They're just starting college. What's the best route for them to take?
Yes. Well, the first part of your question is I was 9 years old, Deb.
Oh, that's why I figured that.
I knew my parents, we grew up in a home that back in the day, you watched the news.
Back in the day. Oh
back
my
in
gosh.
my day, baby.
But I'm sure you had a color TV. Well, I had a black and white TV back in the day. Come on, young lady.
Deb said, cut it out.
Cut it out. I'm a little, I can be her mom.
Yes,
back in the day.
But in the, the kids younger than me don't recognize you used to watch TV with your family, right?
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. So back in the day.
We all have these screens in our face now, but back in the day, you sat and watched it.
Together as a family.
Together.
And you made sure it was appropriate stuff to watch as a family together.
That is correct.
And we had to have our dinner first and clear the table and say, can I be excused? And then you had homework done.
Talk about it.
Then you had the ability to watch what was appropriate as a family.
At that age, yeah.
Yes.
And, even school closures, kids get texts now. Remember, they used to come scrolling across.
You get up really early. Okay. Well, for me, we didn't even have that there were no school closures in Burbank where I grew up.
No way.
We just walked to school. There was no closure. Well, we didn't have snow.
Okay.
We did have earthquakes, so we may have had a few of those, but literally I don't even know how we would find out because there wasn't
a system in place.
There was not a system.
Correct.
So we just went to school.
Yeah.
And you learned to hide under your desk for an air raid.
That's right. Yeah. Or the earthquakes or whatever.
Yeah. We had earthquake drills, but we didn't have the snow. So we didn't didn't have that. But here that is big. But
in Kentucky too. Kentucky's 4 seasons. Many don't know.
I wouldn't have known.
Yes, Kentucky's 4 seasons. So there is, ice storms. Negative, less than.
See, it's worse then. It's more harsh because we don't usually have ice storms in Reno, Nevada. I've never had an ice storm.
Correct.
But you've had ice storms.
Many.
That's pretty
storm.
scary.
It's very terrifying. And then they get the polar vortex, a meteorological term where the temperature goes under. It'll be -10, so you can't have kids on the bus stop. So.
They might freeze.
They might freeze.
Their feet will be like, I'm trying to get up. Bus driver, I'm trying to get in.
As soon as they left the door, they should be stuck.
They can't go anywhere. It's like there's a commercial where this gentleman is putting his tongue. I hate that commercial.
Yes,
he's putting his tongue and it gets stuck. It just freaks me out.
I know.
It's like scratching a chalkboard. Those things I don't like.
And so Robin Roberts, Good Morning America, Diane Sawyer, Barbara Walters, my idols. And that is where I took an interest because I always watched. And I got into high school, was playing high school basketball. And when Kentucky's a huge basketball state, huge. And so when the sports guys would come, they would cover guys and girls. I would always see the camera and be like, no, my number was 40. Make sure you get number 40. Give me a highlight reel while I'm warming up or something. Like I was infatuated with the camera. And lo and behold, Deb, I end up tearing my ACL 6 games into my senior season of high school where you're getting the most recruits, the most attention. Right. Thank goodness that my parents were very big sticklers on academics because I was able to receive a full academic scholarship to Western Kentucky University, where a lot of people, you just focus on sports, books aren't that good.
That was good though.
They're out of luck, but I was blessed to still be able to continue my education. And Western has a fantastic school dedicated to journalism and broadcasting. And that's how I got in. So the second part of your question, write people. I wrote local news anchors.
Really?
One of my best friends, her mother was a local news anchor in Lexington growing up. So we watched her. She watched me growing up. And she was a great mentor as I entered college. So if you don't have that personal connection, that's what I love about local news. We shop in the same grocery stores.
Yes,
we are in the same parks with our families. Send an email. And so that would be how to get inside and to get the door open. Is I really, really am a strong advocate for mentorship and for someone who's already been where you've been to pay that forward. So I would say reach out, whether it's a radio personality. Okay. There's so many different avenues now, but back then it was print, radio, TV.
Also there's social media. And I know that since we are pretty friendly in Reno and it's local, you can actually DM, as you say, DM them and say, hey, this is Deb, and I've been watching you for years, and I would love to just chat with you. And I guarantee you they will reply personally and they will chat with you.
Yeah, DM, direct message.
I mean, it's straight. We didn't have that back when. But anyway, we're going to take another break. We come back. We are going to talk about how you can take a challenge and make it a success. That's not how Tabnie had worded it, but in a sense, we all have days we fall down. We're going to tell you how to take that fall and rise it up. So it's About Town Deb and Tabnie. We'll be right back.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
You know that's what she said. Come on, let's have some fun with About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back. I can't believe it's our third segment. Tabnie, you're too good.
I know.
She's so good. I don't even have to think. We can just chat and where it's what we do. We're keeping it real, having a conversation. And as we left to go on break, I had mentioned that we all fall and we all have a failure, or we all get tested. You're like, why are you testing me? And you're thinking, can I do this? What am I going to do? Do I take that test and make it a testimonial? And that's exactly what Tabnie wanted to talk about today. So I'm going to turn the mic back over to you.
Yes. When we get into the thick of it and we do question, why is this happening? Why did you take my bro? I wasn't done with him yet.
No, I get that.
Especially in something in the realm of grief.
That's tough.
And you have to consider the time, August 2021. That time frame was the entrance of a global public health crisis we knew nothing about at the beginning stages. And in the news cycle, it was flooding, death after death, viewer question after viewer question, myth after myth. Then that funneled into racial reckoning. And, the Breonna Taylor case, Lexington and Louisville are an hour apart. I'm a Lexington native, but Louisville is a wonderful place and my second home. That hit me deeply, her murder. And I'm the only Black on air talent in this market. So no one here I can really bounce or banter or share that space with me, at the job either. And then debilitating grief all within
same time.
Yeah, all of that overlapped. And so you have to sit with it, and we tried to escape it. And one of the things that COVID taught us was you can't always, or it's not advised, right, to travel. It's not advised to hug.
So you can't escape. You can't go to that person and say, I need a hug. I need you.
You sit with it. And so I advise that, stillness with God is uncomfortable, but what it does is allow you to do that shadow work and to go inside and to see what is the real root of whatever that could be going on. With me, it was loneliness. It was separation, because it didn't bother me moving across the country from my family, because hopping on a plane was no problem until you couldn't.
So you couldn't.
Then I had never went a year in my life not seeing my parents, That's huge to never have experienced before.
Yeah.
And so the test into testimonies, what I recognize now is I needed that eye opener. I have always been a very empathetic. I take a lot of work home, which sometimes isn't healthy, but that is what makes me a phenomenal storyteller, because I don't just put a microphone in your face to get a sound bite and keep going. Here's my number. Well, first, before I talk to you, tell me a little bit about yourself. How do you feel? Do you feel comfortable going on camera? That human is what makes me such a trustworthy journalist still. And so, just having to do all of that at the same time was a lot.
I agree.
But the test and the testimonies are, I needed my eyes open. Life really is short. And sometimes it takes death to wake you up. And moving out here in my late 20s, going into my 30s, you feel invincible at that age. And you're not. And I'm grateful for that reality to step back, to sit down, and to put into perspective what's most important. And it was not my job. It was my well-being. It was the ability to, it takes a flight. It's a full PTO day, right? To get to the other side of the country, to Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, Ohio, where my loved ones are. And you only get 10 to 12 a year. That's not living.
Yeah.
That's not living. And so my test into testimonies are for the future storytellers. For, I'm never going to deter a man or woman from wanting to enter the realm. But I wish someone, put more of an effort on inner work. It's just, you work holidays and you work weekends and you take the low pay and you climb your way up. You need to live today, yesterday, and tomorrow.
Well, I think that's with any career. I mean, it's also even with what I do, being out there in the public and day after day, and you're out there and you're going from the morning to night. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I haven't been home in a few days. I mean, I'm home, but I'm not, because you come home and you're exhausted. And then you come home and you're still having to do the social media that you did all day and put it up. And so I've had to step back, and it's probably been 12 years I've been doing what I'm doing. And in the beginning, I thought, man, I have to go to every single event. And a very wise friend, Jen Rose, said to me when I was at America Matters, she looked at me one day and she said, Deb, you got to slow down. You have to, and have to say no. You don't have to be at every single event. You don't. But I'm like, but I felt like I had to. And she said, no, you have a life, you have a family, you need to spend that time. And if you don't go to every event, if you miss a few, they're going to be like, where's Deb? Otherwise, they expect you to go. And I'm one of those I'm a giver. So I would go and give tenfold and exhaust myself. Yeah. And I'm finally learning, we'll talk about the no is a complete sentence in the next segment, but I really feel like you're out there, you need to take that time to breathe. Number one, how many times is my watch tells me all the time to breathe? That's pretty sad that my watch has to say breathe. So I'm like, oh, am I not? I'm not. I'm sitting like this, like you're tense and you're waiting for the next shoe to, what's that ball to drop? Shoe, that's right. The ball to drop, because there's so many things out there spinning and you don't know when is it going to be your turn that something's going to, you're going to hear bad news or hear good news. You don't know. But I'm glad that at your amazing young age, you've discovered that. So your life will be so much more fulfilled than a lot of ours who are my age, who didn't take that time. We were told we couldn't take that time. And then you add a family into it. Then you're playing the mom and the wife and the this and the that and the daughter. And you have all these roles you're playing, and then whatever job role you're playing. So really, I think I'm sure men too, but as a woman, I've always had a title. I'm mom, I'm room mom, I'm T-ball mom, I'm Parish Life Debbie, I'm this. Then you think, well, who is Debbie? Yeah. Who's Tabnie?
And they get pushed. Tabnie and Debbie get pushed to the back
farther and farther
because of all those titles that are listed ahead of time. And America is very title and status based as a country. And so you don't get a lot of credit for being Deb, the Zen meditator who
I don't even know how to do that,
who runs through lavender fields, and I
could probably do that.
Okay. But is that the prestige as About Town Deb, who's into wine and go to El Dorado and regionally and nationally known? It's not. But in reality, that is more important. But Zen in the lavender fields.
No, I agree. But how do you not get hooked or attached to a title? How do you, starting out, you learn, okay, you graduated, you're a student, and then let's say you go to college, and then, oh my gosh, it's time to get married. Oh, now you're married. Oh, well, now you're clean, you're a housekeeper, you're a cook, you do all of it. Yes. But when do you say to yourself, okay, I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
I did that at age 50. Yeah. I'm done. No more cooking for me.
I'm done. Yeah. I wish I learned earlier.
Yeah.
It's recent for me in terms of that self-realization. I cannot pour from an empty cup.
They always say it's like the airplane one, put the mask on yourself first.
That's what every flight attendant says. And that is a magnificent mantra for life. take care of you first. When you are full, when you are rested, when you are well fed, when you have had your meditation, when you have taken a day off. And as entrepreneurs, I'm still learning that, because when I take a day off, I'm like, dang, I should have done more. And I'm like, no, that's a mental health day. The boss cannot be the boss if the boss is overworked and not sleeping and face is breaking out and diet is all jacked up.
I gotcha.
And so the answer to your question is it's on you. Because society, your parents may not. Well, you need to get married. Well, you need to do this. Well, you need to have this. Well, you need to move to another market. That's all I kept hearing. Nobody asked about Tabnie. So it was up to me. It was up to me. And that is the test in the testimonies, because the test of being alone was I had nobody to take care of me but me, myself, and I. And baby, all of us got me, like all the facets of me, all of the divine presence of my ancestors who are watching over and who help me. They have me. And so do I. So that has happened now, that because I start my day saying, what do I need first? Then those meetings go better. Then those conversations, those proposals, the amount gets bigger, and the gigs come from all over, because I've taken care of me first. So it starts with you.
Can you hear that out there? Mm-hmm. It starts with you. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to let it start with you. And it's okay to take that day. Mm-hmm. There's times it's like a Sunday and I'm like, oh, I'm still like doing some Instagram. I'm still doing stuff. I'm like, I just want to watch a movie. And so I put it on and go, pick up my phone. Nope, it's okay. You don't have to do that. But I have to tell myself every step of the way all day. And I am the worst one. I'm going to say I am the worst one. And Georgia, my cousin, will say to me, Sunday is a day of rest. It's okay. You do not have to work. I'm like, but I have to do one more reel. And she said, why? But because. No. So I'm learning. Yes. And I think we all but you need somebody next to you. Yes. You need to have a mentor. You need to have a friend to stop you and say, it's okay, Deb.
And you have to have the realization that you will have to tell yourself time and time again. You don't forgive somebody one time and then just forget
over and over.
You get mad again and it's like, I need to forgive them all over again.
I agree.
Right? So the same is, okay, you touched your phone when you started the movie. Okay, now we're 10 minutes in, you touch put it down.
No, that's
it's good. Reoccurring, Deb. It's going
to take time. So we're going to take a final break. Oh, really? And then we're going to come back and give you some tools on how to say no and know that no is a complete sentence. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned. But don't say no. You're going to stay tuned. We'll be right back. Deb and Tabnie.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Fenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Fenix Productions.
Ready to help from her toes to her head. Just give her a shout. Call About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And we're back. The fourth and final segment. So when it goes this fast, you have a good person next to you. So this makes me so excited because I am praying and hoping that Tabnie will be on more frequently and we'll be talking about even current events. Who knows? Yes. We're going to keep it real. Yes. And we want you to know that we are here because we care. Number one, and we are you. We're just like you. Come on. I fall down more than I want to fall down. Yes. And sometimes I need somebody around me to say, hey, Deb, it's okay. Let me hold you up. Like you said, it's how many times you put that phone down, you're still trying. I get you. We all struggle with making changes. And at the same time, we struggle when everybody wants us to go somewhere. Everybody wants us to do something. And I'm a giver. I don't want to say no. And now, like, it's been 12 years and I'm finally learning no is a complete sentence. I really did not know that. That's been like a new thing lately. Have you been told no is a complete sentence?
Yes, but I didn't know it either. We have grand experience as being women, and we do that a lot. Look at the tone and inflection when we want to say no, but we say, "Are you sure we can't do it tomorrow?" Put that bass back in there, baby. I'm not available tomorrow. Or my motto, I am not working for free in 2023, baby, because everybody...
I gave you a little thing. I said, you just start high because you are worth it. No, it is... I said the no, but I meant, I don't know why I said no. See, we're talking about no.
Yes.
But if it's a family or friend, it's even harder to say no. So I was looking up some tips. So nice. I'm going to share these. So let's say you ask me to ask me something. Pretend. Let's just do a role play.
Deb, there's this new restaurant out and I'm really trying to go. How about Wednesday at 6 p.m.?
You know, that is so kind of you to think of me to share that. But I can't, considering the circumstances right now, but I would love to take a rain check.
Good example. It's like people sometimes are afraid of no because it's harsh and it's 2 letters. Or you did great with that one.
Or okay, let's say you wanted me to go to an event. So make up like a nice thing, like a very important thing to you.
Yes. The Dress for Success Kentucky Derby in the West fundraiser.
Oh,
right.
When is that?
Is coming up first Saturday of May every year. Our signature fundraiser. Deb, you've got to have the hat. You've got to have the dress. I've got to have you there. Are you coming?
I'm so honored. And I'm really humbled that you want me there. But at this time, I have some family obligations and I know it's planned out, but I don't want to let them down. But I'm telling you, how can I support you ahead of time?
Good.
How can I support you?
Yes, you can donate ahead of time.
I will donate. I'll promote it.
Of wine.
And then I will be there in spirit.
Good job. Good job.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, you know, these are great, but I also don't want women to be afraid to not have to always explain themselves.
Yes. No, I did. Okay. I was reading up on it and it said you shouldn't make up something why you can't go. It's okay to just say, no, I just can't make it.
Yeah. I passed. I'm staying in tonight.
And I've actually that came up. So this weekend, it was the Great Basin Great Basin Brewery in Sparks. They had an event from like Friday to Sunday, and I had some good friends who go to the wine country a lot with me, and they said, "Hey, Deb, we're gonna go Saturday at 5:00, and there's gonna be music and their new beer releases, and they have my wine at their one restaurant." So I'm really feeling like, okay. But you know what? I said, I'm like, that's okay. That sounds really exciting. Like, I really want to go. And I was really thinking I did. Then I hung up the phone and I went, I don't want to get out of my PJs. So I texted and I said, I know you said yes, but I just want to stay home and not go anywhere. But thank you. And
good job.
And I did it.
Good job.
But it was so with the texting, it's kind of makes it a little bit easier.
Sure. Because
they asked me over the phone and I said, yes, I'll be there. And literally as soon as I hung up, my gut said, you don't need to be there. And they totally were fine. They said, great, we'll see you next time. And it didn't bother them. But then it's professionally wise. So I think it's a little bit different when you are dealing with a business. So that's a whole nother one. So this is what they said. So they just said, be straightforward yet polite. Like you said, it's business. It's a business one. Express your inability in the light of time, productively. Express your inability in the light of time. Like, I don't have time right now, but you can't deliver it right now because what's happening. Like if somebody says, I want that done today. And you're like, well, honestly, there's no way I can get that done today. I don't have all the facts. I don't have the paperwork yet. So be honest. Don't just say, okay, then think, how am I going to make this happen?
Be honest.
I don't have the tools to make it happen. And not that it's your fault. And then it said, try to suggest an alternative when you can say, no, I'm not doing this very well. I should be having you read this. Try to suggest an alternative when you say no at work. So
yes.
How would that?
Okay, so news is great, and that's my realm because facts.
Tell me how you would do that.
Facts are essential. Yeah. So if there's a report I'm working on, and the EP or the team wants it to air on a certain day, I say, well, I've got to vet these facts. How about I can turn it in Thursday at 5 p.m. That gives me another day to look through. And there's a couple of sources that I haven't checked. Boom, because we pride ourselves on the truth and accuracy. And so if you're in another field and you would say, oh, well, I've got 2 more candidates that still need to be interviewed, or I'm still waiting for a few more responses. And to make this as the most thorough presentation as possible, I really just need to do tomorrow at 5 p.m. That is my best work put forward.
I love that.
Hey,
she's got it. Freestyling. I like it. But I think a lot of us I don't think I was ever told I could say no.
Correct.
Think about that. As a kid, you're like, yes, ma'am. Yes, mom. Yes, I'll get that done. I'll have my, I'll have the dishes done by this. I couldn't go out and play till I did this. But there was always a time, like, this is when you do this. This is when you do that. I didn't think about that.
No, and as
not
kids,
that it was bad. I mean, I liked having limits. I needed those growing up. I needed a time limit. This has to be done by this before you go.
A bedtime, because we're crankier when we get up for school.
Certain things, when you're younger, you do need to follow some guidelines. And hopefully you have parents who are a little bit flexible, but also understand that you need to find out who you are at the same time.
And there just needs, for me, a little more space for individuality. Children say, I'm hungry, and parents say, no, you're not. Go to bed.
But I'm hungry. I'm hungry,
though. I get you tell me that I'm not because you're my authority figure, but
actually, that is so true. Think about that.
Come on.
Oh.
Come on. There needs to be some space for individuality. There needs to be.
At any age.
Any age.
I love that.
Yes.
I didn't even, I've gone to, I have good parents. I love my parents.
Sure.
But there are times when I'm like, I'm still hungry or I'm full.
Yeah.
You have to clean your plate.
You have to clean your plate.
Like, I really am full. There's my tummy hurts. I don't want to eat anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we start from that age. Then we're told what to do in school. Oh. Then you get to college and your professors, that's all they told me. Take the job, work the weekends, take the low pay, work your way up. No one ever said, try an LLC, try consulting, take your talents, monetize them, increase your wealth. No one ever dropped that dime.
I am learning right now from this beautiful woman. Because
no one.
But we all do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do not think that no has a lot of space. We don't think our no is valued. We don't want to be the one looking down upon. Forget all that. If my mental's not well, I'm not coming to work today. I called out. I was still on the news. Summer 2022, May and June were terrible. It was 10 Black people gunned down at a grocery store in Buffalo, 19 children in Uvalde. I called off work the day after Uvalde. And then a month later, women's rights slashed away. I cried so much last summer. We didn't even have fires. It was a beautiful summer. And baby, I was in tears because I now have accepted that space that I would tuck away and say, I have to go to work, and say, what good am I on somebody's TV with a golf ball in my throat? And then you're supposed to move on after 19 kids are gunned down. It won't be me today. And it felt so good to say, I'm taking a day. I will not be at work for mental health, period.
Good job.
Period. And and now I lead with that. If I can, absolutely. If I'm unable, no. If I change my mind, like I had a situation with you, I was the one to initiate. Let's go out this Saturday. Girl, Saturday came, it was 12 degrees outside. I'm not going outside. My bad.
It's okay. But we have to be flexible.
Yes.
So we're coming to the end of the show. So Tabnie, what is the easiest way for us to get a hold of you, number one?
Yes. Like you said, we are very responsive on social media.
We are really.
We are. So keeping tabs with Tabnie is Instagram, and then Tabnie Dozier News is still my Facebook. You can DM and write messages there. And then my email is info@tabniedozier.com.
And the best part is whether you're watching it on social media, whether you're listening to it on a podcast, her link will be on the podcast. So you know how to find both of us. I would love, I'm just going to throw you out again. Mm-hmm. What would you like to share with the audience about you, your heart right now? So when they When this is done, what do you want them to remember?
That it's okay to not be okay.
Oh, I like
that is not supported, highlighted, uplifted enough to have bad days. When mothers feel mom guilt, they don't want to play with their children. They don't really want to talk to their children.
And that's okay.
And that is okay. It is okay to
ask for help.
Yes. And when you're a new business owner and they say, what is your plan? And I say, well, baby, I'm divinely led and I don't have to have all the answers right now. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. So I'm going to say thank you. And I'm going to thank you for listening. And I want you to remember, together we are one heart, and we're always going to keep it real here. So we can't wait to visit with you again the next show about Town Deb and Tabnie.
Thank you.
This podcast was a production of Angel Fenix Productions. Explore more episodes of this show or other great shows on the Angel Fenix Podcast Network by visiting angelphenix.com. The views expressed in this show do not necessarily represent those of Angel Fenix Productions or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.